Moses and the Red Sea. When God made a way through the impossible, imagine standing in front of an ocean. Behind you, an army. On both sides, wilderness, and there is nowhere to run. This was the moment the Israelites faced. For generations, they had lived as slaves in Egypt. They cried out to God for freedom, and God heard them. He raised up a man named Moses, a man who once doubted himself, who once ran from his calling, but who now stood boldly before Pharaoh with a message. "Let my people go." Pharaoh refused. Then came the plagues, signs of God's power. The Nile turned to blood. Darkness covered the land. Finally, after the last devastating plague, Pharaoh broke. He told the Israelites to leave. After 400 years of slavery, they were finally free. Imagine the excitement, the relief, the hope. Families packed quickly. Thousands began their journey out of Egypt. God led them with a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, a visible reminder that He was with them. But freedom does not always mean the battle is over. Soon, Pharaoh changed his mind. His heart hardened again. He gathered his army, hundreds of chariots, trained soldiers, powerful horses, and chased after the Israelites. Dust filled the horizon. The Israelites saw it first. The army was coming. Panic spread through the camp. Fear took over their hearts. They turned to Moses and cried out, "Was it because there were no graves in Egypt that you brought us here to die? It would have been better to remain slaves than to die in the wilderness." Fear makes us forget miracles, but Moses stood firm. He said words that still echo through history. "Do not be afraid. Stand firm and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today." In front of them was the Red Sea. Behind them was death. And then God spoke. He told Moses, "Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea." Moses obeyed. He lifted his staff, and suddenly a strong wind began to blow. Not for a few seconds. All night long, the waters began to separate. The sea divided. Walls of water stood on both sides, and in the middle, dry ground appeared. The impossible became possible. Step by step, family by family, thousands of people walked through the middle of the sea. Imagine the sound, wind rushing, water towering beside them, children holding their parents' hands, hearts pounding with both fear and awe. God did not remove the sea. He made a way through it. When the Israelites reached the other side, Pharaoh's army followed. But when the last Israelite stepped onto dry land, God told Moses to stretch out his hand again. The waters returned, the sea closed. The army that once held them captive was gone. The same path that saved God's people destroyed their enemy. Silence filled the air. Then realization, they were truly free. The Bible says the people feared the Lord and put their trust in Him. And Moses and the Israelites sang a song of victory. The Red Sea was not just a miracle of water, it was a miracle of trust. God did not take them around the obstacle, He took them through it. And maybe that's the message for us today. Sometimes we stand in front of our own Red Sea, a problem too big, a situation too overwhelming, a future too uncertain. Behind us is fear. In front of us is impossibility, but the God who parted the sea still makes a way. He asks us to trust, to stand firm, to take the first step onto the dry ground He provides. Because when God makes a way, no army can stop it. When God opens a path, no sea can close it. And what looks impossible to us is simply an opportunity for Him to show His power. The Red Sea reminds us, the battle is not ours alone. The Lord fights for His people, and sometimes the greatest miracles happen when we are brave enough to move forward in faith.